Hello friends, welcome to Nandi. We'll be discussing about the Monetary Policy Committee and different interest rates of these RBI and Monetary Policy Committee. Please do subscribe Nandi and share with the fellow aspirants if you genuinely like the content. When this Monetary Policy Committee was established, friends, it was in 2016 based on the recommendation of Urjit Patel Committee. Earlier, too many other committees recommended for the establishment of Monetary Policy Committee. This you have to remember. And whether it is a statutory body or a constitutional body, it is a statutory body. When an organization or any body was established based on certain law or act, then it can be termed as statutory body. So this Monetary Policy Committee was established based on RBI Act 1934. So that is why it is termed as a statutory body. Then how many people exist in Monetary Policy Committee? It is of 6 members. 3 members are nominated by the Government of India and other 3 members from Reserve Bank of India, including the Governor of RBI. So the Governor of the RBI will be considered as ex officio chairman of this Monetary Policy Committee. Coming to the two main important objectives of your Monetary Policy Committee. In order to stabilize the prices which were fluctuating, Monetary Policy Committee fix the interest rates and also sets the inflation targets. Please go through the description box and find out the inflation video and learn about all the basic terms running around the inflation. So how this inflation or price fluctuation have to be tackled? It will be based on your Monetary Policy Committee interest rates. We'll be discussing about interest rates now. And apart from this, it should also keep an eye on positive and continuous economic growth. So these are the two important objectives of the Monetary Policy Committee. Apart from this, indirectly, it benefits the businesses which were existing through stabilizing them. It means it creates an environment so that the business cycle should not be disturbed. And when all these things are happening, obviously there will be an increment in the employment. So indirectly, these two are also the objectives of this Monetary Policy Committee. Directly, or the primary objectives are price stability and economic growth. So how many times a year these Monetary Policy Committee people will meet? There is a condition that at least 4 times a year they have to meet, but generally bi-monthly meeting, that is once in a 2 months meeting will be held. And what is meant by silent period, friends? The committee people should maintain confidentiality. For that, 7 days before and after 7 days of the meeting, they should not discuss with any people about the meeting until and unless it was permitted to do so. How the decisions in this Monetary Policy Committee were made, friends? It was based on majority. That is, out of 6 members, if 4 members are supporting a decision and 2 members are opposing a decision, so the majority decision will be implemented. If think that the members of the committee were exactly divided on a decision, that 3 members were opposing and 3 members were supporting, then here comes the role of the governor, that is your casting vote. Whenever there is a tie in the decision to be made, then governor will have a casting vote. So he can vote for the second time. First time initially he was one of the members of the RBI, yes, then he voted for the first time. Second time he will be having the casting vote, that whenever there is a tie, so based on that the majority decision will be implemented. Sometimes you find in the newspaper that the Monetary Policy Committee recommendations are contractionary or expansionary. What is mean by that? Whenever the policies of these committee increases the money supply in the economy, then it is expansionary policy. If the money supply decreases, then it is called as contractionary policies. Friends, try to attempt this question and please comment in the comment section box. What is mean by scheduled banks, friends? Have you ever heard about the scheduled banks? Whenever the bank is listed in second schedule of RBI Act 1934, then it can be termed as a scheduled banks. Remaining all other banks can be termed as a non-scheduled banks. Coming to the commercial banks, it includes both, friends, the scheduled and also non-scheduled banks. But these have to be regulated under the Banking Regulation Act 1949. Then only they can be termed as commercial banks. Coming to the repo rate, that is repurchase option. So what will be repurchased and between whom this rate takes place? Repo rate is the rate at which RBI lends money to commercial banks. That is why I discussed about the definition of the commercial bank earlier. So, whenever the banks or the commercial banks have shortfall of funds with them, they approach RBI for money. But they have to give certain securities to RBI, that is the bonds, and with a guarantee that these bonds will be repurchased again from the RBI after a period of time. That is why it is called as repurchase option. The reverse of this repo rate is reverse repo rate. That is, under repo rate, what happens? RBI gives money to commercial banks, but reverse happens here, that RBI borrows money from the commercial banks within the country. Coming to the liquidity adjustment facility, it is a tool used in the Monetary Policy Committee in order to perform the repo rate and reverse repo rate agreements. That is why I have discussed about the repo rate and reverse repo rate definitions earlier. To use that, we need a tool. That tool is liquidity adjustment facility. Then what is meant by interbank liquidity, friends? Every bank in the country will have certain criteria to be maintained per day and also per month or per quarter or per year. Here I am discussing about the per day. If bank one have to maintain, for example, I am telling you, I am taking very small amount to make you understand easily. Bank one have to maintain 98 rupees per day or for this day. But presently it has only 96 rupees with it. So what it does? It just borrows for one day or for one day from the bank to, that is 2 rupees, and maintain its liquidity. It means that bank too should have extra money with them, so that then only it can give or it can lend money to other bank for short time period. So this is what interbank liquidity. In order to make these adjustments, there will be existing an interbank liquidity phenomenon. But even when this bank too does not have extra money, what happens? They have to maintain that liquidity for sure. So a scheduled banks, I think you know the definition of the scheduled banks now. The scheduled banks will borrow money from the RBI in an emergency situation for over a night. To borrow over a night from RBI in an emergency situation, whenever there is interbank liquidity dries up, then that window can be termed as a marginal standing facility. Coming to the bank rate, this is a rate charged by the RBI for lending funds to the commercial banks. That is, RBI lend money to commercial banks. Do not confuse bank rate with the repo rate. This is a general phenomenon. Repo rate means it is like for a short period of time, and that also they have to definitely provide a securities, and it is a liquidity adjustment facility tool, repo rate. So there is a lot of difference between your repo rate and bank rate. Bank rate is the general phenomenon. Repo rate is, it is comes under the liquidity adjustment facility. What is mean by net time demand liabilities, friends? Liabilities means the deposits with the bank. That, why am I calling this as a liability? It means debt. Yes, these have deposits have to be given back to the people. That is why I am calling it as a liability or a debt. Coming to the demand liabilities, that is, if you deposit money in your bank, whenever you want, you are able to withdraw money from this account. Then it can be called as a demand liabilities. Coming to the time deposits, until and unless certain time period goes on, you can't draw this money. Comes under your fixed deposits or 3 years time period or 4 years time period. Until and unless these time periods are completed, you can't withdraw from this account. Such types of deposits are called as time deposits and demand deposits. The difference between these time deposits and demand liabilities is called as net time demand liabilities. Coming to the cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio, friends, try to understand the percentage of money kept with the RBI by banks is called as CRR, and think that this should be maintained only in the form of cash. And who will maintain this? It should be deposited with RBI. Coming to the statutory liquidity ratio, the percentage of net time demand liabilities should be maintained with the banks itself in the form of liquid assets, that is not only cash, even like gold and any other government securities of central government and state government securities can also be comes under your statutory liquidity ratio. And who will maintain this? It maintains with the banks itself. What was the purpose of cash reserve ratio? In order to control the excess money. If that thing that the CRR is 5%, then 5% of the bank money should be deposited in the RBI. So the money supply in the economy will decrease. If think that only 1% of CRR should be kept with the RBI, then money supply in the economy will increase. So in order to control the money supply in the economy, cash reserve ratio is used. Then what was the purpose of statutory liquidity ratio? If think that I deposited certain 10 crores in a bank. Yes, I deposited and I just want to take back, that I'm demanding now my 10 crores back. But what happened? If think that these 10 crores were given to certain industrialist as a loan, that's what banks are doing. They'll be depositing, we will be depositing money in the banks, and these banks will be regulated in the economy, industries, services, and also government. Yes, so they gave back to certain industrialists in the form of loan. But now I'm demanding. So whenever I demand, the bank should have minimum 10 crores with them. In order to maintain such daily activities, banks should maintain this statutory liquidity ratio. That is, to meet the unexpected demand of any depositor, bank will maintain this as a wallet, so that whenever any people will demand for the money, then it can give money to them from this SLR. So that is why it is used to maintain statutory liquidity ratio. And for what purpose CRR is maintained? To maintain the liquidity in the economy. For what purpose SLR is maintained? To give credit growth, like giving loan and more people. Yes, to improve the credit growth in the economy. So whether you'll get interest rate on this CRR? No. This cash will be deposited with the RBI. RBI will not pay any interest rate for CRR. But banks can earn interest rate on statutory liquidity ratio. These are very important differences. There also exist certain differences between liquidity adjustment facility and marginal standing facility, friends. These are the two tools which we have discussed earlier. This is not much important because it changes with the time. So first difference is who are eligible. All clients of RBI are eligible under liquidity adjustment facility, but under marginal standing facility only. This is very important. Scheduled commercial banks are allowed. Second difference is Already we have discussed about the statutory liquidity ratio. Yes, in that even the government securities will also be there. I already told you this. So can these government securities be used under the liquidity adjustment facilities? Then it is definitely no. If the government securities do not belongs to statutory liquidity ratio, then they can be used. If they belongs to statutory liquidity ratio, then they cannot be used. But under marginal standing facilities, if the government securities even falls under the statutory liquidity ratio, then also they can be used. And the third difference, banks can borrow any amount, like there is no maximum limit under liquidity adjustment facility. How many securities you have, that much money you can borrow, but it cannot be possible under marginal standing facility. You have a maximum limit here, only up to 2% of your net demand and time liabilities you can borrow. If another main difference is, if think that the repo rate is 2%, repo rate comes under your liquidity adjustment facility rate itself. So if the repo rate is 2%, then marginal lending facility rate will be 3%, that is R plus 1%. These are the most important differences you have to remember.